Hey, what's happening, everybody? Just waiting. Just waiting for a few people to come in. Yeah, man, my pot been on off the stove long enough. I think that yeah, we have to talk about a few things, man. It's been a long time. I haven't said anything. Been kind of quiet, hoping that things work themselves out. As far as MDOC is concerned, there's still a lot of things going on that I don't think people realize. So I've been going downtown to meet with some of the legislature uh, about the situation and trying to get their take on it and just see what's really, really going on with it. But man, my pot been off the stove long enough, man. We can't keep allowing things to happen the way that they're happening as far as SMCI is concerned with Brad Huffman, uh, CMCF, with Owens being sent to Walnut Grove. You go from superintendent to being an underling. We know that your fiance still works there. But today, I want to start from the top. You got the commissioner, who I have a lot of respect for. But I think that he let a lot of people get away with things. While I was down there, man, I was interested to see how people talk about how the people, everybody that drove him around when he first came here, are in prominent position now. Starting with Nathan Blevins, Mark McClure, Ms. Hashton, all these people. You notice they're either DCIs or or superintendents. St. Julian. So all these people were once on his security detail and drove him around. And how all these people are in key positions, regardless of their qualification. Now, one of the things I learned while I was downtown is that, last year he spoke about needing more money, and because of probation and parole being part of the security detail at the different institutions, I think that what people don't realize is that um, a lot of these positions, the reason it doesn't seem we're still short staffed because probation and parole are supposed to be holding some of these positions, which they're not. As you see the video that I posted this morning, you'll see out at the TWC out in Rankin County how a guy went there. You see all the cars, the people, they're not seeing people there, and all of them were still there in the parking lot, pretty much. They're not seeing anybody that's in there really drawing a free check. But Mr. Blevins, I'm gonna call him G Money today, in New Jack City. G Money made a side deal. I think Blevins made a side deal with Barnett. you know, you worked for Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane said that he needed to continue using probation and parole, but you went and had a bill offered to get them moved over to uh, 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 DPS, the Department of Public Safety. When your boss saying that he still needs them to remain with MDOC to maintain the level of security. Now, if they go to DPS, they're going to take the cars, they're going to take their equipment. All these cars are leaving MDOC, going over to the Department of Public Safety, and the only thing they're going to leave is their state phone, the MDOC phone. They can't take that. But why would you go behind your boss's back and make a side deal to have them author a bill to move? But y'all not doing anything anyway. It seems that you come in from probation and parole and come into correction. You don't know anything about correction. And you have good people in correction that you're running off. All your people in correction, and then you continue to let Violacor rob the state. You had 3 deaths within the last week at SMCI. One guy, because the roof of one of the buildings was dilapidated when it rained the week before, a couple of weeks ago. The roof fell and hit him in the head. He went to the hospital. He didn't recover. He didn't recover. He died yesterday. And I released the name and the post today with their pictures. You had a guy that died day before yesterday at SMCI. You had 2 that died the same day, last Thursday. And one that died day before yesterday, all from lack of medical care at SMCI. Then you had Carl Lewis at CMCM to die. Now, I'm not saying that he was a model inmate, but I don't think any man deserves to die from lack of medical care within the prison system. If you can't afford to take care of a man, let him go home so their family can get them the necessary care. Carl Lewis, he was caught with some contraband and taken up and put in RNC in the shoe. Then now, the deputy superintendent, St. Julian, went up and got him out, pleaded for him to come out. They didn't. They shipped him off. I think they sent him to Parchment, Unit 29. How about St. Julian pick him up, bring him back to CMCL? A day later, he's dead. You know, and the allegations have it that Mr. Lewis said that if he go down, he was going to take a lot of people down with him. You know, so, but a day later, after he's picked back up and taken back to CMCL, he dies. You know what I mean? You know, so it's just all these mysterious deaths. And then I want to just address the situation. Mr. Owens, Superintendent Owens, I told you a long time ago, man, nobody was going to put up with your racist antics in how you talk to your workers. I think that you thought that you were above the law, maybe because you came from Chickasaw and that you were of another color. But when you don't do what you're supposed to do, when you don't get along with people that you are, when you claim not to get along with people of color, and when you talk to people of color in the way that you want to, that's what happened. Now you're crying. It's rumored that you were down at Walnut Grove crying because you didn't want to be there. Were you crying because your fiance was left at CMCL, or were you crying because you're going to have to actually do some work and you're going to be an underling of a person who's just as racist as you, Superintendent Dixon, you know, who says that they'll do what MDOC says when they're on the premises. When they're not, I'm going to do what the state say, what the private institutions say about running Walnut Grove. So I think that for you to go and work with somebody just as racist, then it's going to come out that there are people who are just as racist as you. Another thing I want to address as far as that move, Mr. Huffman at SMCI, he's no longer the regional superintendent. He's been downsized back to just regular superintendent of SMCI. However, that still doesn't negate the fact that you hired your cousin Doug, who you know was in a relationship with the officer who was there, the same officer that you forced to resign since he's been working there, since he's been employed there. So if he came back and worked there and was in a relationship with this officer, don't you think that he was in a relationship with this female while he was working there or before, before he got out as an offender? Why would you rehire him at the same institution? There's several institutions that you could have got him another job at. You know what I mean? Other than right back at the same institution. You know, the same way Miss Lundy was accused of being in a relationship with an offender there at CMCL, and the picture shows that she was at a concert in Memphis with him. Now she's posting him on his Facebook, so she was actually in a relationship with him. But nothing happened to her. You let her get away, Mr. Hunt. You didn't let her slip through the crack. You set her free. You opened the cage and set her free. Because you had her when she came back on CMCF ground with a bundle to bring to the same guy that she's in the picture with contraband. But you send the black girl from Parchment who got caught butt naked in Unit 30 with an inmate falling out the roof on her. Now, Miss Baber, man, shame on you. How can you disgrace yourself, your black femininity, and yourself by First of all, first of all, being in a relationship with a guy, no matter what he told you or what he could have said, should have made you lose respect for yourself. There's not enough uh, hormones, love, or anything to make you violate the principle of self. How can you disrespect yourself by getting in a relationship with a guy that you know is a criminal offense? What they do to you? It happened to a lot of other people that were not our color, but they let them go home, gave them a slap on the wrist, but they took you straight to the Sunflower County Jail. And it said that you was, when they came in, you wasn't like Adrena said, you didn't have your t-shirts and panties on. Man, you was butterball naked. And the guy fell out the roof from Panola County, you know, and I'll release his name later. Matter of fact, it's already on the Hope Dealers page. Man, come on, man. What's up, bro? Come on, man. You give us as African Americans, the ones who are trying to do right, and they still discriminate against because they stand up for themselves. People like Grimes, people like Mumford. I'm not saying Mumford was perfect, but I wholeheartedly believe that, Grimes operated within the boundaries of the system the whole time I was there. I'm not saying that he may not have fed somebody, in which everybody there feeds somebody. But it just shows the level of disrespect for us as a people at Parchman, CMCL, Walnut Grove. They don't value what we say as African Americans and employees. But whites do the same thing. They get a slap on the wrist and get sent home. Now you have a sex offender charge that you got to live with for the rest of your life, Miss Baber. And nothing may not have happened other than you being at work naked. You could say you had a hot flash, but I think that with him falling out the roof, it's a telltale sign what he was coming to do. And the cold part about it, man, he's in the roof with a colostomy bag. I knew him. He had a colostomy bag on from being shot on the streets. Had a 17-year sentence for drugs from Panola County. All that's, like my area, my stomping ground. But I remember him. And so, but to him, why would you put her? There's nothing. Now I did 23 years, and not one time in those 23 years did I ask a woman or a man to compromise themselves for the sake of my pleasures while I was incarcerated, for the sake of something that would send me to the shoe to lock up on 23-1 and send them to jail because I couldn't win. I knew that even though the police framed me, I knew that I put myself on their radar and I was in prison because of the things that I was doing on the street. And even though I had quit hustling, I knew that the product of my environment sent me to prison. So the only thing I wanted to do was to make myself better upon coming out so that I would never have to go back in and subject myself to the inhumane condition that Parchman treats the men and women, who are incarcerated in MDOC. They don't have clean water at Parchman. 29 is almost totally dilapidated, but you got a whole unit at 22 where the white guys don't even need supervision. You got maximum supervision for where we are, but yet and still you got nobody watching these people with life sentences. And it's, even you let them go hunt the people. Batman who watch your dad. You got deer stands where they hunt. You let them hunt. A convicted felon with a life sentence, you're letting them hunt. It still hasn't been 5 years for one of your special detail person for him to have his green and white. You know what I mean? He's been there. He haven't even been incarcerated 5 years, and he got green and white. And you'll let him hunt wild hogs and deer out on parchment ground. And so you've done 10 times more than what McClure has done, and what Dixon has done, and all the other superintendents around. The few things that you've done, number one, with jumping your daughter on the list for her to have a house. Her house is finished. Tell her she don't have to park in the back. She can park in the front. Everybody knows that that's her house. Uh, Jumping her in front of all the other people who were waiting on the housing list to get housing at MDOC. Your biased hiring practice, your biased job placement and promotions. You know what I mean? And so you think that you're going to keep slipping through the cracks just because you drove the superintendent around when he first came here in 2020 when you were on probation and parole. Mind you, after 2019 where you shot the black guy in 29B building, in 29B building when you shot him in the back, but they swept that under the rug. They settled out of court with the guy and they swept that under the rug. Mind you, the incidents of nepotism that you had with your wife being, who works for MagCorps, who's assigned a pen in MagCorps, that's not a part of MDOC, that's a nonprofit, where she worked for a whole different agency, where she's screening people who come into Parchment as if she's part of MDOC. Mind you, the several escapes that you've had on your wife, mind you, the several homicides and deaths that you ruled natural death on your watch that has happened since you've been at MDOC. And so I just wanted to sit back and look, man, because I've been trying to help a lot of people. But man, there's no sense in me trying to help you if you're not going to help yourself. I'm talking to the offenders and I'm talking to the staff. If you're going to reach out to me, then I'm going to help you help yourself. I'm going to put you in the right direction, put you in the right room with people. I remember when I heard about the girl Zoe who came in, white girl. Taylor took her out of training and took her straight to K9 and put her on the K9. Now this girl was taking alcohol and was recruiting other officers to take alcohol to 29, 28 and the other camps. She would bring it around in the truck to them before they go in, and she would pretty much escort them in all the way through. So when a young lady from, I want to say Clarksdale, got caught up with Zoe, and pretty much when they looked at all the transactions that was on the K9 girl Zoe's phone and the other young black lady, whose name I don't want to say right now, but I'll reveal later. If you were there, you know who I'm talking about. Long story short, it matched the phone that they found off a guy that was in 29F building and C building. Zoe went home, had a slap on the wrist, didn't get charged. Now the girl from Clarksdale can't get a job, can't get housing because she has a pending felon for introduction of contraband into a penal institution. But Zoe has a gravy job somewhere else since leaving Parchment. The same two people, the same two charged, the same incidents. One white, one black. The black girl can't get a job, can't get an apartment, can't get housing. But you still sit at the top with G Money stabbing you in the back, making side deals behind your back, Mr. Kane, and you're letting this continue to go on. Man, you don't owe them no allegiance because they drove you around when you first came here. You putting these bums, unqualified, racist, probation and parole people in position of power, and your prison system is going down. It's going down like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going down like Babylon. It's going down like the Tower of Babel. It's going down. It's sinking fast. It's sinking real fast. And before you get caught up, I advise you to take the knife and cut ties with G Money. Am I my brother's keeper? That's what I want to ask you. Man, G Money gonna stab you to the back and gonna get you out the way so somebody from probation and parole can be the next commissioner. That's his ultimate goal. And he's grooming his great white hope, Batman, to take your place. So then you think about that for a side deal. Go back and tell it. I know some of you will. But frankly, I don't give a damn. I tagged him in the video so you don't have to tell it. And I'm going to make sure that I send it to him so you don't have to tell it. See, some of y'all standing around watching G Money stab him in the back and y'all won't say nothing. You know what I mean? The same way some of y'all watching uh, Blevins when he was tiptoeing out to the trailer to see Miss Harrison, his love interest, knowing that he's married, which is a conflict of interest because you're her supervisor, because you work downtown. You know what I mean? And she's the superintendent. And not saying anything. Stuff is happening on her watch where less things happen on Miss Alexander's watch or Anderson's watch, but you got rid of her for no reason. You know what I mean? We ain't saying nothing about the staff that's driving the state vehicles and having an accident with their children in the state vehicle on the way to work. You know who I'm talking about. I don't have to say the name. I won't say the name because I have a small level of respect for her, but it's the second vehicle that she's tore up and nothing has happened. Nobody reported it until the people came to do the audit and asked for it. Did they even know that the vehicle had been wrecked? You know what I mean? And so I think the level of disrespect for my people, our people, inmates and staff alike, it's gone too far. It's at the point of no return. And so it's simply 2025 and it's time for a change. Either you cut ties or the Mississippi taxpayers are going to push to cut ties with you. You know what I mean? You can't keep giving your pets slaps on the wrist and moving them around and shifting the problem to other places. If they're incompetent at one place, they're going to be incompetent at the other place. And get that knife out of G Money's hand because he's surely making side deals behind your back. You know what I mean? And so we're going to watch this bill. And I'll post some pictures where I've been at the Capitol. And I think that because your homeboy, you know, see another thing, people don't know that when the situation happened with Mr. McClure, and I don't talk about it a lot, but I want to uncover this so y'all can just think about this for a minute. You know, Batman is from the West Point area, over by Tupelo. Blevins is from the same thing. They both come up in probation and parole. So when Batman's father went to prison for shooting his brother, Nathan Blevins' family kind of took him in. I don't know if it was was his parents and him or just him. They took him in. You'll often hear him say that Mark is his brother from another mother. So pretty much he's saying that they come up together in probation and parole. Now, fast forward to today. You excuse his neglect in 2019 when he shot the African-American brother in the back during the standoff that they had when he was on probation and parole when they came over to quell the rise in 2019, December to be exact, when the guy clearly didn't have a weapon, the guy clearly had his back turned, and you shot him in the back. Did the gun accidentally go off? No. You pulled the trigger, man. You know that. You know that. You know that. But they swept that under the rug, and they reward you by making you the superintendent down at CMCL, where your father was in 720, where guys on the special detail now that was down there watched out for your father. Your father was a racist too. I talked to a lot of other offenders, you know, who said that. So you had all the guys that was on special detail. You had 2 or 3 watching him 24 hours a day to make sure that he had everything he needed and comfort him, you know, through his last suffering while he was incarcerated. It's against the law it's against policy. I won't say against the law. It's against MDOC policy for you to be over a prison that a family member is at. You didn't ship him. You let him rest comfortably because you had quick access to him. You had quick access to him. And so you assigned these guys to watch him. You rewarded them like Cain rewarded you on special detail, and you gave them a job. Had them all brought to MDOC with you on special detail. So now they have picked up the tone that you carry, a spirit of racism, so they think that they can tell African American staff what to do, when to move, and what to do. So they have your spirit. Because they see you do it, they think they can do it because you brought them down there. You know what I mean? And so, whatever plan you got, G Money on making side deals behind Mr. Kane back. Whatever plans you got, Christopher Kelly, on making side deal with Blevins behind Mr. Kane back when he brought you from Georgia down there to be over re-entry. So whatever side deal that you guys are formulating against him, I'm just asking him while his wife is going through that to not to close his, either get out the way and let somebody else come in and run it like it's supposed to be, or man, step up and be the person that you was in Angola. That rule with the iron fist and get these side deal, Uncle Tom, stepping fetches from behind you so that you can give the guys who are incarcerated what they need. There's more parole, there's better conditions, there's better food, better jobs, better reentry training, and better access to become a returning citizen in the Mississippi society. Don't give them cigarettes where you can make money, and give them an education so that they can prepare not to come back inside your prison system or Mississippi penal system. But you'll go to bat for a 2-time convicted murderer and let him out of prison. He gets caught drunk driving the first time, and God tried to tell you he sent him back in. They violated him, and y'all went to the judge and let him go again. Now he's dead from a drunk driving accident and has injured 2 people. He's in the hospital. I'm talking about James Williams, the field minister that killed his dad, James Williams Jr., and his stepmom, Miss Cindy. But you got people like William Golden, Mac Watts, Henry Stevenson, your other field ministers who deserve parole, don't drink while they're inside, and do everything they can, not going to do anything when they get out. Peacemaker. There's a bunch of them that's deserving of parole. Even Jerry Meditar. You know what I mean? But you give James Williams, who had a troubled past, who had a troubled incarceration period, but you write letters to him, to the parole board, to ensure he made parole. And what does he do? What does he do? He have a wreck and kill somebody. And then he comes back. He comes back. Gets out. He brags about that he thinks he's going to beat the charge when he's at CMCL with the other racist chaplain, whatever his name is. I can't think of his name, but y'all walked him out. He's a former, of course, he went through the Bible seminary, but didn't finish. And he got caught up down there at CMCL, so they walked him out. And you keep letting your other pet make it, the only female chaplain that you got in the state. You keep letting her make it with her unqualified, unprofessional antics. You know what I mean? Man, just do your job. If you don't know how to do your job, get out the way. Get out the way, man. Get out the way. And stop allowing all these deaths, man. Mississippi people, African American, which is the state is at least majority African American, man, we're suffering. We're the highest populated state with African American as far as population, the demographic. But you're allowing them to suffer alongside people who are not qualified. And the only thing they want to do is talk to them, boy, like the lady, the nurse, the director of nursing, Miss Tillman. Do you know how many complaints have been sent to you about this lady that's director of nursing at SMCI? How she want to call some of her staff and inmates boys. Man, you can't call a grown man that's got a life sentence a boy. Boy, you need to sit down, and boy, you need to, you come in with this racist, hillbilly mentality, man. And what's wrong with you, Tillman? Complaints have been sent to you. I got copies of them. The same ones that were sent to you, I got copies of them. But you haven't done anything to her. You haven't addressed anybody. Although she works with Violacor, you give the contract to them. Every year that we've had Violacor, the contract has went up every year. Every year. You know what I mean? But if a person of African American descent is in a position of power and they sneeze wrong, you want to force them to resign. Move them all out the way. like you did De La Roche. You know what I mean? With nothing, with nothing. But you gave the superintendent before her 1,000 chances when you knew she was in a relationship with another offender. And get the girl, the young girl that's mentally ill at MSU, the black girl. I can't think of her name right now, but it'll come to me before this live is over. And get her some help, man. She needs to be in a mental facility. You know, she's going to keep running off. She's going to keep banging her head. She's going to keep disrespecting staff. She's going to keep throwing feces on officers. And stop treating those women at MSU like they're super criminals, man. Super criminals. You know, man, get it together, man. Get it together. Because I got a whole book of tea, a whole pot of tea that I ain't even put on the stove, man. I just wanted to come in because I didn't have any more room. So I had to put one of them on and boil a little bit this morning. You know, so, but I just think that it's time, man. You can't keep letting Batman do what he's doing. You know, Huffman was not bad, but he's not abiding by the rules, man. He's not abiding by the rules. He's on pins and needles now, but you disregarded what the congressman said that she didn't want him down there after that escape, after you let convicted felons walk out the front door from the escape. What about the escapes that Mark has had? The ones that were reported and the ones that weren't reported to the ACA. What about those? I think it's time, man, that you shake it up. You shake it up. You know, shake it up, man, before I pour out some more tea. You know, my folder is really, really full. And I'm waiting to hear a response from DOJ now. You know what I mean? It's time, man. It's time. So I done told you that G-Money making side deals behind your back, so let me see how you handle it. If you don't believe it, go down there and talk to Warren Barnett and ask him personally. And look at the bill that's coming up. It's getting ready to come up on you, where they're going to take the probation and parole and send them to the State Department. And you won't be getting that money for officers when they take them, because that money is going to go to Department of Public Safety. It's not going to come to MDOC to fill a position of case managers or to give case managers correctional officers pen. If he or she is in a correctional officer pen, then they should be at least forced to work one weekend out of a month to ease the prison the shortage of staff within the prison. And if you train guys right, they're going to be less likely to commit crimes and violence. If you give them something else to do other than smoke, watch TV, and participate in illegal activities, then they're going to be more inclined, and they'll watch themselves and run the penitentiary themselves. They're running it anyway, but not the way you want it. You know what I mean? And so to say that, man, I've always told that you need chaos to bring in finance. So the more chaos you have, the more money you can go ask legislature for to pump into your prison system. But the thing is, who's getting the kickbacks? Who's getting the salary and the pay raises? When the last time you gave somebody of color a pay raise at CMCL, at MDOC, or anything? When the last time you given one of them a bonus? You know what I mean? You allowed them to give a dog Employee of the Month until something was said about it. You know, so you think people forget, man? People don't forget, they just record. Man, if you like this video, man, just like it and share it as many times as you can, as many platforms as you can. Man, I see you guys this evening because I still got a lot to talk about. You know, and then before I leave, MDOC, I'll be back, man. I'm gonna try to call Miss Laura Reed and talk to her before I address this situation. You know what I mean? Man, stop allowing these racist people to continue to do what they do. You know, give them the axe. Like you said, run them off. If they don't get in line, run them off. That was your motto when you first came here. Yep. You ran off all the chaplains that at Parchment when I got here, and at CMCF, most of them. and at SMCI. You tried to run them off. They just knew that stuff, and you couldn't run them off, and they both retired. hmm So stop it, man. Stop it, man. We got to do better. As an African American people, we got to do better. Happy Black History Month, man. Take care, man. Like and share the video, man. Like and share the video. This is Tea Time with Sipping, man. I'm at school. You see, I'm what can I say? I'm at Jennings doing my studies. You see the water fountain, man. Let's see. Can I get the water fountain? Oh, there she go. Yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you for taking time, man, to listen to me, man. Share the video. Like the video. Leave me a comment. You want anything addressed. If you got some tea for me, man, drop it in the inbox. And we'll be sure to talk about it. I had my pot off the stove, man. I had my pots off the stove. But G Money forced me to bring them back. Yeah. It had been sitting on my chest, and I wanted to forewarn you of his side deal. So now you've been warned. So when he stabs you in the back, you know, you'll be okay. Take care. What's up, soldier? What's up, soldier? Take care, man.